guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
the untold truth about the hate campaign against T.O.P.
After the release of Squid Game Season 2, it didn't take long for Korean media to publish a wave of negative articles targeting T.O.P., who plays the role of Thanos in the series. This led to fans speculating that the articles might be part of a coordinated effort to tarnish his image, and many believe the evidence strongly supports this theory. Ever since 2019, news about former Big Bang member T.O.P. has been few and far between, as he has decided to step away from the public eye for a bit. For those who may not be familiar with the events that led to T.O.P.'s hiatus from the K-pop industry, let's take a quick look back at what happened. T.O.P. began his 2-year mandatory military service in 2017 as a conscripted police officer, with his discharge scheduled for 2018. However, in May of that year, news broke that he would be prosecuted without detention for using illegal substances.
So, remember, we watched this, right, about his girlfriend? So remember who his girlfriend was? Remember we did like a separate video about this girl that was like, took down people and then brought YG down to prepare to go to prison.
That was her.
That's her. That's the girlfriend. Yeah.
As a result, T.O.P. was transferred to a different police division to await prosecution and was suspended from his police duties while waiting for the outcome of his case. In response, he issued a handwritten apology promising, "I will never make such an irresponsible mistake again." During that time, T.O.P. was bashed with an overwhelming wave of hate comments, some of which accumulated thousands of likes across various Korean media platforms. The comments were filled
Who types that? I hate you.
with so much venom and became so intense that fans began to genuinely worry about his well-being. At one point, a photo surfaced of T.O.P. in a police uniform at the police station where he was stationed, with a small smile on his face. This moment quickly became a target for criticism, with hate comments eagerly seizing the opportunity to drag him through the mud, focusing on that smile. However, for his fans, it didn't seem like the smile of someone who was unrepentant or indifferent to his actions. Instead, it appeared to be the expression of someone deeply struggling and perhaps even on the brink of giving up. Unfortunately, it turned out to be true, as only a few days after issuing his apology, T.O.P. was discovered unconscious in the police barracks, seemingly due to an overdose of anti-anxiety medication. He was immediately rushed to the hospital for emergency care. Following a thorough investigation, it was revealed that T.O.P. had been a regular user of sedatives, but on that particular day, he had taken a higher dosage than prescribed, leading to a dangerous and harmful outcome. Thankfully, on June 8, 2017, T.O.P.'s mother confirmed that he had regained consciousness and was recovering. On June 29th, during his first trial at the Seoul Central District Court, T.O.P. pled guilty, admitting to smoking illegally on 4 occasions, and was sentenced to 2 years of probation. The trial also revealed that T.O.P. had engaged in illegal activities with the controversial actress and his ex-girlfriend, Han So-hee, at least 3 times. Following a disciplinary review to determine whether he would return as a conscripted policeman or complete his service as a public service worker, T.O.P. was reassigned to a member of a military reserve force status by the authorities. He was transferred from the police force and resumed his mandatory service as a public service officer on January 26, 2018, being ultimately discharged from his service on July 6, 2019. The situation raised questions about his mental health and the exact reasons behind his use of anti-anxiety medication. However, when this scandal was revisited years later, fans were quick to recall how T.O.P. had shed light on the harsh realities of being an idol and how it affected his mental health for the worse. During an interview with Prestige Online in 2022, he shared that he had struggled with depression since a young age, feeling unusually sensitive compared to others. T.O.P. also addressed his 2017 scandal, referring to it as one of the biggest news stories in Korea, and described it as the worst moment of his life. Despite this, the aftermath of the scandal had the most significant impact on T.O.P., and he revealed just how deeply it affected his mental health, even leading to his attempts at self-harm. Although T.O.P. received extreme backlash in the past, with every media company calling him out, he also highlighted Korea's high rates of self-inflicted harm and pointed out that mental health still remains a taboo subject within the country's traditional society. Now, as T.O.P. was making his long-awaited return to the screen after an extended break, many might have expected a warm and
time that we all saw him on the TV after this whole controversy?
I guess. I don't know.
Oh, that's a big jump.
enthusiastic reception. However, people didn't forget his past scandal and were not quite prepared to accept his comeback. This whole controversy began on June 20.
I don't think that was the way to come back.
I think this is the perfect way to come back, is to bring awareness on the issue, because if the society doesn't talk about it, then, it's like a taboo. So him acting in such a character.
But this character doesn't it's not developed enough to see him recover. We see him die.
It's fairly developed.
You see him
I mean, but he was one of the main and spoiler alert if you haven't seen, guys. Oops. But he was one of the
If you haven't seen it by now, you're not gonna see it.
No, but I'm just saying, he was like out of the what you call it, the competitors. He was one of the main ones. There was a couple of main ones, but he was one of the main ones.
It seems like people wanted to see him do more like acts of service to kind of redeem himself.
Redeem himself for what? He was sentenced for that.
Yeah.
So how much does he have to do? He served whatever the punishment was. He served that.
I don't know if you could say the character he played was to bring awareness.
I think it brings awareness because if it's taboo in a society, I think he brings it up.
I also saw there was like someone drop a video about talking about the trans character too as well. As that this doesn't bring there was more that came out after too as well.
Was?
Yeah, that the characters that we see on the show, I don't know, it shows people who can go in that struggle, but it doesn't help bring awareness.
I think bringing awareness is showing people that struggle. Yeah, I think that's bringing awareness. Instead of like brushing it under the rug, like such people don't exist. You show them they do exist, and you show what it is like to be them. I think that's how we bring awareness to the issue.
I wonder if, like, how we have here, okay, when they have a big show like this, they do like media runs. Okay, do they talk about what was it like to be this character? I wonder if he's gonna talk about the media runs. I don't know if they will even allow him, because we saw in the news that they were pulling any campaign that had T.O.P in it out from it.
You did see that?
Yeah.
Wow.
They said that if T.O.P was like, remember, like he had a poster with his photo in for Squid Games, it was taken down. He was not included. He was not included in the promo.
That sounds like Sugar from BTS. That they did that with Sugar. That whenever like at awards.
I remember for Squid Games.
28th, 2023, when it was officially announced that T.O.P would be joining the cast of Squid Game 2 as player 230, a retired rapper who becomes a victim of a crypto investment scam. One notable trait of T.O.P's character in the series is his impulsive nature, which seems to include said substance use, a portrayal that many believe too closely mirrored his real-life scandal. This also became an obvious reason for the ongoing criticism and backlash T.O.P was receiving. Soon after photos of the cast preparing for filming were shared, Korean netizens quickly voiced their disapproval, with many stating they would not watch the series because of T.O.P.'s involvement. One comment specifically said, "I'm not watching. A criminal is appearing in it shamelessly." The backlash against the casting of T.O.P. in Squid Game became so intense that it led to calls for a boycott, with a significant amount of criticism aimed at his casting for the role. In response to the growing controversy, the director of Squid Game, Hwang Dong-hyuk, felt the need to defend the idol-turned-actor publicly in an interview with People. Referring to T.O.P. by his Korean name, Choi Sung-hyun, he acknowledged the rumors swirling around the kind of character T.O.P. would portray and highlighted the courage it took for the actor to take on such a controversial role. The director emphasized that he had faith in T.O.P.'s ability to bring the character to life and reassured the audience that T.O.P. had been thoroughly screened for the role and his casting was a result of his proven talent and suitability for the character. He further expressed, "We decided that we had no choice but to prove to the viewers through the final result as to why this character and work had to go to T.O.P. That was why we did not cancel it and press through with it." However, when Squid Game finally premiered on December 26th, things did not go as expected. T.O.P.'s fans were overjoyed at the hope of seeing him back on screen, as many had eagerly awaited his return after his time away from the industry. But the situation took a turn, and T.O.P. found himself at the center of a growing storm of backlash for multiple reasons. Viewers were eager to see the cause behind the highly controversial casting of T.O.P., but they were left deeply disappointed by his performance, which many critics found lacking. According to multiple Korean media outlets, T.O.P.'s acting fell short of expectations. In particular, NBC harshly criticized his portrayal, describing his character as unbearable and suggesting that a talented rookie should have been cast instead. They even went so far as to say that just watching T.O.P. simply walk into a scene was unappealing.
For me, he was entertaining. I think he added a lot to the show. He added a little extra dynamic that there wasn't there before. Maybe, in Korea it wasn't well received, because I do remember hearing of something about his speech too, like the way his dialogue, it sounded funny in Korean, that's what they said.
But they said that about Jisoo too as well.
Right, so I don't know, but to me, I felt his character was very interesting.
I felt like he played the obnoxious character really well.
I think his character was obnoxious, drug user, and that's what he did. I think he executed.
Maybe this personality type is not quite common.
I think that's what it is, more so than him himself.
Meanwhile, Joy News expressed complete confusion at the director's decision to retain T.O.P. for the role, even implying that the casting choice was more about generating publicity than providing a chance. The report also questioned whether the creators genuinely believed that by saying they deemed him suitable, viewers would simply accept their decision and move on. But when the report quoted, or did they assume that because the Squid Game series targets a global audience, the disappointment from Korean viewers could be ignored, it led netizens to believe that the creators underestimated the importance of the Korean audience's response. In fact, some even questioned whether T.O.P.'s casting was the result of using his connections. Netizens believe that despite director Hwang's denials, casting T.O.P., who had publicly clashed with fans on social media, announced he wouldn't be returning to Korea and hadn't acted since 2014 in the most globally successful K-drama project in history, seems hard to justify unless it's connected to his close ties with the main cast of Squid Game. However, what initially appeared...
I don't know, I don't have a problem with them dismissing Koreans' concerns. This show has transcended Korea's global show now. So if it's international people that are bringing them the money. So if they don't have a problem with it, why should they care?
Appeared to be a minor issue soon escalated into something much larger when fans began to notice that T.O.P. had been mysteriously removed from promotional materials, excluded from
you were right,
interview schedules for Squid Game 2, and didn't attend the highly anticipated production presentation event.
But did you react to this, or you saw this on TikTok? Because I don't remember seeing this.
I remember seeing this. To me, because that is interesting, because I feel like then if you take him out the promo, you kind of please the Korean fans, because the internationals are not gonna really know unless you know him from Big Bang, and oftentimes people know the group as opposed to each of the members unless you like the big members. So I feel like this is like a middle ground they tried to accomplish.
In the international fans who stepped up to defend T.O.P., they praised his acting and what he brought to season 2, with one international fan commenting, "Did we all watch the same drama? Because for me, he was one of the few things that are good in this otherwise utterly boring season of Squid Game."
He ain't lie.
Additionally, fans discovered a clear difference in how Korean and international outlets were reacting, which seemed to extend to Netflix as well. They pointed out that while global Netflix accounts frequently posted clips highlighting T.O.P. as portrayal of Thanos, Netflix Korea had not shared any content related to him at all. This highlighted director Hwang's point that exaggerated cartoonish characters like Thanos tend to be well received internationally, but often feel out of place to Korean audiences, who generally prefer more grounded and serious portrayals.
As a matter of fact, I don't think they kind of want that, like, stigma.
I think they want to hide that exists in their culture, so that's what they're saying.
I can understand that. There's some things that I would feel like, okay, but they don't need to show the world this.
But that's what I meant, that he brings awareness by showing that. Because he brings awareness that, it does exist. Just because we pretend it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I think for me to identify with that, I would also have to be Korean to be upset with the Koreans. But since I see it as, I didn't know that he had these issues for it to be a big deal for him to play this character. Because I would know, for example, if it was Lindsay Lohan, we know Lindsay Lohan is someone who has had a troubled past. Yeah. So if she's playing a problem, like, girl, are you sure you should be playing that? Is that the time to do this?
Fans also criticized the hypocrisy of netizens who only targeted T.O.P., despite several other Squid Game 2 cast members having faced more serious controversies.
Yes.
For example, Lee Jung-jae, who plays the main role in the show, has a history of DUIs and harassment allegations. Lee Jin-wook was accused of SA in 2016, though the charges were dropped, while veteran actor Oh Young-soo received an 8-month suspended sentence for SA. The most shocking one was Song Young-chang, or Player 100, who reportedly paid a 16-year-old girl for intimate services while married, resulting in a 10-month suspended sentence and 2 years of probation, but was released early. Fans expressed confusion about the unnecessary hate campaign against T.O.P.
Y'all going in wrong on the wrong people.
Compared to
T.O.P.'s
case to all of these guys.
No.
Yeah, T.O.P. ain't do nothing. Yeah.
Comment noting, Song Young-chang was charged with underage intimate services, and they're worrying about T.O.P.'s cringe acting. Another thing that caught fans' attention was how the hate articles about T.O.P. surfaced just 5 minutes after the show's release, despite him not appearing until the 3rd episode. This led fans to question whether the critics had actually seen his scenes before posting their reviews, or whether this was part of a hate campaign. It turns out that a press screening for episodes 1 through 7 took place on December 23rd, with a review event until the official release. Journalists had to sign an NDA and place their phones in special pouches that blocked blocked camera functions from entering the screening venue. While it appears that reporters would have watched all 7 episodes, including T.O.P. scenes, before writing their reviews, it's ultimately up to fans to determine whether the criticism was authentic or not. However, when the backlash reached a boiling point, director Huang decided to address the situation head-on in an exclusive interview. He explained that casting the character was a complex process, and his team struggled to find an actor who could authentically portray the role of a troubled rapper, a storyline reflecting real-world social issues. He continued, "We held auditions for a long time looking for someone who could portray a hip-hop loving, substance-using character, but I couldn't find anyone who met my criteria." T.O.P.'s name came up during the search, and although the director was initially hesitant due to the actor's extended...
I would be curious to know the other names.
Who were part of Triumph for this?
Like, who could you think that who would play this part?
G-Dragon? T.O.P. G-Dragon, I think both of them.
Break from the industry, he eventually decided to reach out to him. After several auditions and some doubts about whether T.O.P. was ready, Huang concluded that he was the right fit for the role. However, what he didn't expect was the intense backlash, as he expressed. "Given that it's been 6 to 7 years for Song Hyun, I thought enough time had passed for people to accept him. However,
I think Top is taller than G-Dragon.
Yeah, he looks tall in the show, yeah.
And the way that I saw, like, I think Top was the perfect. If you were to pick someone like G-Dragon and versus Top, I think Top is still the better choice.
No, I think he did a great job.
I was surprised by the backlash. At the very end, reflecting on the controversies and T.O.P.'s comments about not returning to Korea, Huang realized the issue was more complicated than he had anticipated. But personally, he felt he couldn't simply exclude T.O.P. from the project because he hadn't been forgiven by mentioning, "I wanted to work with him to create something that could show whether he could earn forgiveness." He wrapped up by stating that, in the end, it's up to the public to decide if they'll accept him again after seeing his work. Despite
one detail about Top, I don't know if you noticed, he has this interesting scar on his cheek that looks like, and I see him in natural photos too, and he has that same scar, so he looks like someone who's been, so I thought he fit perfectly for that role.
The director's repeated defense of casting T.O.P., it may still take a considerable amount of time for netizens to fully accept him. Only time will tell if public opinion can shift and whether he can ultimately win over the hate.
I think the hate should be directed to elsewhere, not to Top. I think he was phenomenal in his role. I was very impressed. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.